Very bad. Good morning.
You're welcome. This is how we do it Monday through Saturday, 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. News review. We check the newspapers, give you on-the-spot analysis, and of course, much more importantly, we open the phone lines and our feedback channel for you, our distinguished listeners, to contribute to whatever of the topics, any of the issues that you feel you want to share your opinion about. So it's not just about us; it's more about you. And this is how we do it every Monday to Saturday, live. Oluyole 98.5 FM, and we're broadcasting live on the radio network, so we're not just on one single frequency. We're live in Oluyole 98.5 FM, and we're coming to you live. For those listening to Agility 92.1 FM, good morning. Okay, Ogun 96.3 FM, good morning. There's one news coming from down. Okay, we'll talk about it during the news today. And of course, for our online audience, facebook.com/Oluyole FM. We're live, Oluyole 98.5 FM. You can check it out on Facebook. We're streaming live on Twitter at Oluyole FM. On Instagram, Oluyole 98.5 FM. We're also on Radio Garden and Mixler. Mixler.com/Oluyole FM. This is how we do it. Join us. Go ahead, drop your comments on our feedback channels, and in due course, we will open the phone line. As always, I have a copy of the newspaper with me, which is the Punch newspaper.
Oh, this morning I have a copy of the Guardian.
You used to have
the Guardian on Saturday.
Okay, you have a guide. Shall I guide money in our direction? Let the money come. All right. Okay, so let's do this. It's the second day of the 5th month of the year 2020. Is World Tuna Day. You know tuna, that's a fish.
Tuna fish.
Yeah. So it's World Tuna Day, and that's what some people have said. Yes. 2nd of May, World Tuna Day.
Is tuna the same as alarm? It's what's called the alarm of fish. Am I right?
I'm not sure. I'm really. I can say which one is which now, but I know tuna is a fish.
I think alarm is mackerel.
Okay. I'm sure those who know the fishes in Yoruba will be telling
the wildlife experts, the fisheries experts.
You know, you're even doing local name now, sir. So even the experts now might be, it's a function of knowing the local name of which is which. So the world depends on tuna, according to the United Nations. A large number of countries worldwide depend on tuna for both food security and nutrition, all the same time. More than 80 countries have tuna fisheries, and the capacity is constantly growing. Today is World Tuna Day. Of course, theme is promoting sustainable tuna fishing. A lot of people depend on that anyway. So the United Nations established World Tuna Day on May 2 to raise awareness about the importance of tuna and to promote more sustainable fishing practices. It is observed for the first time in 2017. So this is third time or the fourth time now. If the first time is 2017, so fourth time to be observed across the world. May 2, 2020, World Tuna Day. Yesterday was May Day, Workers' Day. We appreciate all our workers. Today is for a fish. Each day for its own. Okay, so we'll go straight to the headlines. I have a copy of the Punch newspaper. Controversial bill empowers federal government to convert private properties to isolation centers. This rider, as Lagos, Abuja, others struggle with inadequate bed spaces, bill empowers police to arrest isolation order violators without warrant. Senate considers bill Tuesday. PDP lawyers, CSO, others kick. 10 die as Kano records 92 new cases. Wow, that's an all-time high.
Kano.
Yes, just one state, 92 new cases. Total now 2,170. It took us just 1 week to reach another 1,000. What took us almost a month initially. That's why you're on the mountain.
And I think there is cause to worry, especially regarding the northern states.
I mean, this canon that is as if it's a competition. Details of that, which I just read on page 3 and 7 of the Punch newspaper.
Now, COVID-19 pandemic increases employment opportunities for doctors, nurses, others, and banner headline of the Guardian. And there are riders, institutes Government orders advertise openings for health-related jobs. Government did not give salary increase, but life insurance hazard allowance, says minister. And we are yet to get any life insurance hazard allowance, insist doctors. One of looming shortage of health workers due to high coronavirus infection, death among members, cut in salaries. We spend more now to buy PPEs to stay safe, since government is not giving enough. Doctors painting a bleak picture there. Regarding the first of the government to safeguard their own lives while they are in the front line and trying to protect and save others from coronavirus.
Well, we pray to do the right thing. Workers' Day. NLCTUC seek immediate payment of minimum wage. There's a writer. There will be no sacking without due process, says Buhari. Details on page 7 of the Punch newspaper.
And there we have Workers' Day. Labour flees increasing debt under Buhari government, seeks rehabilitation of refineries. Insist workers must not be COVID-19 sacrificial lamb. ULC demands 20% COVID-19 donations to fund research institutes. And Oluyole advocates stakeholders capitalism. I also have this one. Buhari extols Nigerian workers, says federal government working to protect, create jobs post COVID-19.
Sounds nice. Sounds nice. Kyari's burial. NBA chairman orders sue Buhari SGF. Page 14 of the Punch newspaper. Why are they suing federal government? Yeah, if time permits to take the story.
Our man Ulik Buhari's draft speech was snapped by presidency. From page 4 of the Guardian.
Okay. See how that goes. COVID-19. Dr. C family members moved to isolation center after testing positive. Page 11 of the Punch newspaper. When they said Dr. C Jr. tested positive, I knew, most likely would have affected the whole family. So the whole family now has been moved to an isolation center. Why didn't they just turn the house to isolation center? Since everybody is infected in the house, Kuku turn their bedroom to their, their wardroom. Instead of going to take up beds in isolation center. Well, my opinion, if the doctors feel they should be taken to isolation center, so be it. I'm not a doctor, so most likely they did the right thing. Page 11 of the Punch newspaper. COVID-19. Dr. C family members moved to isolation center after testing positive.
And the women want to improve participation in fight against COVID-19, raising the gender issues here.
Yes, so.
But with them, the nurses in the front line, nurses are mostly female anyway. So with nurses in the front, I think definitely we should have more women participating in the fight against COVID-19. At least talking of health sector workers now.
Are they saying they are not participating? They are. There are doctors. Quite a number of doctors are even females. So, yes, I think the most important thing they should be fighting for is the protection. PPEs and hazard allowance. Now that we have about 113, medical practitioners that have been infected, confirmed positive, for no fault of theirs. I think the protection thing should be what we should be talking about right now. Okay. There's this story here. I felt I'd end up in mortuary after contracting virus with wife, daughter, juju artist Jide Cod. And so he was sharing his experience when he contracted COVID-19. Details of that on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. I think it's good to hear from people like this, so that those who are saying a lie, it's a scam. I hope you won't contact it first before you know it's not a scam. COVID-19 is real low.
At least Jide Cod wouldn't be looking to make money from COVID-19.
For which money? Who will give him the money anyway? So, he's just telling the truth. He said he thought he would end up in mortuary. Can you imagine? But then, of course, COVID-19 is not a death sentence. Early detection and care will just save you. A lot of people are being discharged almost every day. So, really. And globally, over 1 million people have recovered. So, it's not a death sentence.
So there is hope.
Definitely.
Definitely. If the carrier owns up early enough, and and it's a disease that I always say it's a disease that will find you out anyway. So
sure, we better talk on time then, rather than hide it.
Afayemi approves financial assistance for vulnerable Ekiti workers, blames COVID-19 for delay in senior workers' wage. Now, I wonder how the governor determined vulnerable workers. When we take the story,
maybe those who are not anymore.
The criteria.
maybe you use the ending. Well, he might have his reasons or his wish to do that. One dies in Lagos fire as customs kill Ogun teenager. For what now? Well, details of that on page 22 of the Punch newspaper.
Under traditional radar raising some sort of alarm here, coming from Osun State, COVID-19 Osun may grind to a halt.
Wow.
If not financially assisted, monarch cries out.
Wow.
And we have this one Makinde slashes political aids salaries.
I think by 50%. Yeah. And, very welcome development for me, if you ask me. At least it's part of leading by example. You know, everybody's sacrificing something. So let's see the politicians. In fact, there's nothing that gladdens the hearts of the average citizen than hearing that the politicians are reducing their pay. There's a way you feel like, we are now on the same level. You know, that way they want to be closer to you. And okay, yes, you can now talk. You know, now I believe you are not stealing our money.
Some are even saying they should sacrifice their entire pay for now.
Yes, because the devil is actually in the other benefits. That's where the devil is. Okay, but if you ask me, I think it's a good way to start. It's not just your state actually. There are other states that have been doing that. I think Ekiti, Governor Kayode was in the news 2 days ago for doing the same. So yes, good way, good one, and let them continue doing our palliatives. We can't wait. A lot of people can't wait. We expect more from them. Good one. I remember when we interviewed the governor when via phone, we were asking him, any extra?
No.
Is there something more we should expect? I think this is part of it. And Oliver Twist, we want more, sir. So, yes, we want more. Fuel subsidy won't return. Federal government tells IMF. Details on page 30. They said it will not return.
I know what actually interests me is that the removal of fuel subsidy, there was no sort of official pronouncement or official process. It just seemed like a gradual thing, and Nigerians just woke up one moment to say like, oh, this thing is no longer there, and you know, without the government systematically and then tactically, without the usual imbroglio between them and Labour, you know, the usual crisis and all that.
Because it was at a time when prices were low, you know, the prices didn't increase, so Labour didn't know anything. But the truth is, the day the price of crude oil per barrel shoots anything above $50, we go here and and that's the truth. Now, Labour will not talk because it's even dropping actually. 122, 23, some places 21, 25. So yeah, from the 143, 45 that we're buying. So Labour won't talk. But let the price go down. And we are actually praying that the price of crude oil will go up so that Nigeria will make more money. Okay. Now, fuel subsidy won't return. Federal government tells IMF. We'll see how this goes. Details of that story on page 30 of the Punch newspaper.
Now let's some crime stories here. Okada rider rapes pregnant woman, steals belongings. Oh well. Also, Rivers police arrest suspects who buried 3 students at Uniport. Wow. The case of cultism at Uniport there.
Well, talking about the Ekiti man who refused his son entrance into his house after he has traveled from one state, and he said, go to quarantine. No one could have made me welcome a disobedient son home. Ekiti man whose child returned from Lagos despite lockdown. I mean, Lagos is a place where if you return from there, even if you know some, go and lock the person up for 13 days. That's it. I mean, with the stories coming from there now. So, Ekiti man whose child returned from Lagos despite lockdown, he said, no one could have made me welcome a disobedient son home. Details of that on page 26. He got an appointment for it. That's a good one. Well done, sir. We need more men like you.
All right, about to record 9 new COVID-19 cases. Katsina death toll rises. And NLC canvasses mini economic summit in Kebbi. Umai urges workers to be vigilant, safety conscious. News across some states of the Federation there this morning.
Okay. I think I'll just go to the sports scene. The back page of the Punch newspaper. COVID-19 palliatives, NFF will follow FIFA guidelines, says Sanusi. COVID-19 palliatives, NFF will follow FIFA guidelines. That's on the back page of the Punch newspaper.
Saudi Arabia offers £400 million to host Joshua Fury's fight. That's something that's supposed to come up in December.
Wow, that sounds nice. Anything to just jack up the economy. Everybody's playing smart now.
I was about to ask,
anything that will bring money to your country. That's it.
I was about to ask why the Arabs seem so much interested in
boxing. Who does not like money? And we are talking money here. It's not boxing. It's money. That's the aim. You know how many people will travel there to go and watch it? That's it now. This one that the way it is, nobody's going for Ramadan, nobody's going for something. If you bring people,
that's
it's a smart business move. By now, it should be one of the things people at the echelon, especially at the federal government level, should be thinking about. What are the things that can bring in forex? Anything to bring in forex now?
For Saudi Arabia, putting Hajj on hold,
it's a major loss. That's the truth.
It's a big loss to that country at this time.
So everybody should be thinking, what can bring in money? What will make people come and spend money in our country now? That should be one of the major things we should be thinking about right now. Aguero, players scared about Premier League return. Still on the back page of the Punch newspaper.
And we have this one. Tyson training for boxing comeback. It's dangerous, says George Foreman. Are they talking about the same Tyson?
Yes, you need to see that video. Wow. At 53, if you see the way he rushed his sparring partner, I'm like, man, this man should not meet somebody in the corner. Wow. 53.
But is it broke or something?
I think he wanted to use it to raise money for a charity.
Oh.
So he said he was going to fight, to raise money for a charity, some organizations that need money, and of course, everybody will pay to watch Tyson again.
I hope he doesn't regret this.
That's why somebody is warning him, be careful. Tyson, this is what that you are trying. You are not young, go. At 53, it might be dangerous. It might be dangerous. But then it looked actually quite threatening in that video. Just about 8 seconds video. Saw it on Twitter and like, woo, Tyson can still do this.
Well, essentially, he says he's in the best shape of his life.
It looked like he was in the best shape. It looked like, I saw that video, I was like, woo, you can still do this? I'm not sure. Even Joshua will look twice and say, bros, you can still do this? But then, of course, you should not try and bring up Joshua. That might be
Joshua is
he's a young man.
He's Yoruba, and he seems to have a lot of respect for elders. So
he will respect him.
We will respect him in the ring. We don't want
to Mike. Be careful. But I think those who like Tyson is warning him that be careful. This is your comeback, All right. Okay, so that's it. We'll go on a short break. When we're back, we'll take full stories and in due course open the phone lines. Please don't go anywhere. It's conversation with Dayo and Tola. All right, so glad to know you're still there. It's Conversation with Dayo and Tola, coming to you live from the stables of Oluyole 98.5 FM. Oh, you just tuned in. I am Oladayo Ogunbowale.
And I'm Tola Teriba.
All right, we'll go straight to pick some stories from the dailies. Controversial bill empowers federal government to convert private properties to isolation centers. Okay. A controversial bill sponsored by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, and two of his colleagues seeking to empower the federal government to convert any property in the country, including private properties, to isolation centers, has continued to attract criticisms. Apart from members of the House who protested that they were not served copies while it was read at plenary on Tuesday before it already passed first and second reading on the same day, lawyers and many other Nigerians have described the bill as draconian and suspicious. Also on Friday, the bill trended on Twitter as there were accusations that the sponsors plagiarized the law on disease control in Singapore. Those who made the accusations included the International Center for Investigative Reporting, which alleged that over 90% of the content was plagiarized from Singapore's law. The bill, titled Control of Infectious Disease Bill 2020, obtained by Saturday Punch on Thursday, was sponsored by Gbajabiamila, Pascal Obi, and Tanko Sonono. They said the proposed law was designed to prevent the spread or possible outbreak of infectious diseases. Now, this is coming amid the shortage of isolation centers in the country owing to the increasing cases of the coronavirus across the states. As of Friday, the number of cases stood at 2,170, with number of deaths at 68. While 319 have so far recovered across the world, the number of cases rose to 3.3 million, with 237,440 deaths and about 1,069,023 recoveries. Proposed law empowers police to arrest quarantine violators without warrant. Subsection 4 of the same bill reads, quote, "A health officer or a police officer may take any action that is necessary to take effect to an order under subsection 3, while subsection 5 reads, any person who without reasonable excuse contravenes an order under subsection 3 shall be guilty of an offense." Controversial bill empowers federal government to convert private hospitals, private properties to isolation centers. Details of that on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. Tala, what do you think about this?
Dayo, I think members of the Senate and the House of Reps should be the ones to do this. At least they are there to serve Nigerians, and in the spirit of service which they were elected to render. Now they are beginning to think of forcing people, members of the electorate, to see their homes as centers and answer for the ills and atrocities of successive administrations that have failed to build hospitals and structures and facilities, which would have come in very handy at this time. So I think they should be the ones to be made to do these things. They are the ones that own the choice properties, if you ask me. And well, on the issue of people who violate isolation orders, well, I would say that is the way to go. But what the bottom line is that I stand with lawyers on trying to force people to convert their private properties to isolation centers.
That's even my own bone of contention.
That's draconian, as the legal experts have said. And like I said, I begin to wonder again. These politicians, they are not looking at what they have failed to do, and the fact that they indeed should be held responsible for most of these things. Well, personal opinion here anyway, and they should be the ones to answer for whatever has transpired in the past that has resulted in the exposure of the ills, not just in our health sector but in various sectors across our social and economic life.
Sure. I mean, and if I ask, if we look around, most of these houses is politicians that has most properties now. They should lead by example. If you ask me, politicians should lead by example. Let's see how you do it. Who will follow suit? And somebody was saying that when this stuff came out, that EFCC has, confiscated a number of houses across the country. Why not turn these houses, to isolation centers? I remember there's one particular hotel that they claim belongs to the former wife of the president, First Lady, Patience Jonathan, that they want to convert to hotel. There are plenty properties like that. across the country, scattered across the country. Why not? Why can't the FCC just work with NCDC? Okay, these properties have been taken over. I mean, some by courts of competent jurisdiction, so it's already government property. Why do you have to take private properties? That's for me. It's going out of, that's not right. That's not right. And of course, just like you said, the word is draconian. It's draconian. I'm pretty sure government has enough, in their kit to answer. To meet these needs. Taking up personal properties, and then of course arresting people without warrant. Yes, if they did something wrong, why not? But then well, with due respect to our police force and our security agents, we know if you give some people a mile, they will go 10 miles. And when you now begin to give people rights that they can arrest without warrant, hey, the only thing is, we just offend somebody somewhere and say, I've been wanting to tackle that guy. He has coronavirus, go and arrest him. That is because they will arrest first before they will test now. So anything can happen with such laws. And that's why I was not too comfortable when I heard that some honorable members on the same floor of the is it Red Chamber now yesterday, Green Chamber now, the House of Reps, claimed that they were not served copies. A bill you want to discuss and pass. How come people seated in that same chamber did not get copies?
And you see the speed at which some members of the National Assembly, members of the Senate, are trying to make this bill fly at all costs. That's what it looks like to me.
It leaves a lot to to ponder about. I mean, why the hurry? Well, I know we are in an emergency, but then let everybody have a say. Give them copies. That's the right thing. Anyway, I happen to have at some time worked small time in the House of Assembly, those states. You don't discuss a bill until everybody has it on their paper, on their table. No, that's the truth. Before they even start the plenary, it might even be this much, be that many, but you must give every single member that is on seat that day a copy of what you're going to discuss. That's the truth. That's the way it is done. So for some members to come out, they might say they are opposition. Well, I don't know about that one. But for some people to now come out and say they didn't get copies, I think is something being hidden? Is somebody trying to hide something there?
I'm talking about the issue of possible politicization of this process.
That's it.
I mean, you begin to definitely, or probably you might, if the bill flies, you probably begin to see a sitting governor, maybe what's the name of this governor in Imo State, Uzodinma? Probably targeting the property of his predecessor. They of course, they are not the best of friends. Looking at the circumstances that brought up Uzodinma, but I'm just using that as an instance. I'm not saying that is what will play out there. Uzodinma now targeting the property of his predecessor. Okay. That property, we are going to convert it to isolation center. A Kwara State governor targeting the property of a Saraki.
It will happen now. It will happen. This is Nigeria, and of course it can happen across party lines, so that you don't look like you're only talking about APC or PDP. It will happen across board. Somebody does not like somebody, it will happen. That's it. So if you give them that space, if they locate that lacuna in the constitution or in any bill that eventually becomes law, politicians will capitalize on it. That's the truth. So it's better not to leave such lacuna, and that's why we ask that such a bill should be well debated, before it eventually gets passed. And I want to believe the Right Honorable Speaker of the Federal House of Reps should do better. I mean, some of us hold him in high esteem. He should do better. You don't already pass such a bill into law. You don't.
And the way we've seen governments in the past spend millions of dollars on frivolous things, I think this time around, even if the money is not available, what about the Abacha loot? What about money that has been seized from politicians? This is money that could be deployed to national use and national service at this critical period. I think money like that, these isolation centers could be built within months, within weeks, with the deployment of resources like that. So they should stop thinking of making the electorates actually pay for atrocities which they did not commit. The atrocities of a lack of facilities, lack of structures in Nigeria's health sector. There is also this story, banner headline of the Guardian this morning: COVID-19 pandemic increases employment opportunities for doctors and nurses. There's a particularly interesting rider, an argument back and forth between the Minister of Health and the health workers themselves. Government did not give salary increase but life insurance hazard allowance, says Minister. And the doctors are insisting that even the life insurance, even the hazard allowance, they have not received. And they're also warning of looming shortage of health workers due to high coronavirus infection. The story says it is different strokes for different folks as a result of the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. While so many jobs have been lost and more would be lost in some sectors as businesses gradually and selectively reopen globally, the threat of the pandemic appears to be ramping up job opportunities for doctors, nurses, and other health workers in Nigeria, like in most other countries. Presently, the biggest worry for most countries should be whether the medical system has enough ventilators and personal protective equipment, PPEs, to treat patients with COVID-19. But another troubling shortage is on the horizon: doctors, nurses, and other healthcare personnel. The Guardian investigation has revealed that as the number of patients continues to rise nationwide, and more healthcare workers are unable to show up for work, having contracted the virus or because of self-quarantine, shortages of trained health workers are growing, with a very real risk of provider shortages in areas hit hard by the pandemic due to increasing number of patients and doctors and nurses falling ill from or being exposed to the virus. Now, fast forward, it says to address the situation, Minister of Health Dr. Osage Ehanire said the federal government has improved working conditions by offering healthcare workers hazard and allowances and life insurance, as well as motivating them in other ways, at the same time bringing out medical experts from retirement and asking volunteers to report and train them in infection prevention and control, IPC protocol, to avert incidents taking them to quarantine and out of service. But meanwhile, we have this one: doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and other health are also getting more pay because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
They deserve it. They should.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's what the minister is saying.
Exactly. I mean, he had to be pushed to do that anyway. I mean, remember he was saying that he wasn't aware of hazard allowance. You don't say such things. So yeah, he's doing the right thing now.
But then the president of the National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, Dr. Aliu Shumulu, told Guardian that the true picture is that we have continued to earn the same old poor salaries. That's in spite of the minister's claim. While facing grave and life-threatening challenges of COVID-19 and Lassa fever, we have read and heard a lot on plans and proposals to improve our hazard allowances, but no such thing has happened yet. In places like Kaduna State, Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who only recently himself recovered from COVID-19, has even slashed the salaries of healthcare workers by 25% of the old poor rates.
Slashed?
Yeah. And we are still battling non-availability of PPEs and poor training of health workers on the other hand. Now, asked if they are now getting more pay now compared to before, Sokumba said not at all. Some are in fact earning less in Kaduna State, but for most others we earn same and in fact spend more now due to having to buy PPEs for ourselves to stay safe, like sanitizers, masks, etc., since we cannot be given enough by government even at this time.
That's a serious matter if you ask me.
What's going on?
This is not the period slash salaries of health workers. I think we need to tell persons in power, that you can't say, I don't know how else to even say it. I'm trying to watch my words here because it's something that can get you hungry. If you slash money for these guys who are buying you just mentioned it, that they use their own money to buy the PPEs, just to keep themselves safe. So if you will not even provide them PPEs, should you now remove their money? I mean, I was telling people, I said, I think I was in a discussion yesterday with someone, and I said, look, if people must cut salaries, please leave health workers out of it. At this moment, a lot of things that these people are buying. I have a very close friend whose wife works in the UCH, a nurse, and all that. And she was, okay, but let me just. She was mentioning some things they were going through. How some people had to be buying PPEs with their own money. I said, for God's sake, this is a federal government. If it were state now, we will shout on our governor. But I mean, I can't be telling Shema Kinde to go and buy PPE, for such a place and all that. But like the point I'm even trying to make here is that this is not a time to reduce their salary. This is a time to look for help. If you will not even give them money, try and raise people that will donate PPEs. I've been looking out for people that would come together and say, see, we might not give sanitizer, but these people who are at the front line, can we give them protective equipment? For God's sake, as at yesterday, we had 113 health workers for no fault of theirs. Some they say it's because they are working health in private hospital. Are they the ones that brought the patients? Patients that come in lying about their history, their travel history. Is it their fault?
And I'm worried because the minister keeps on insisting that these things have been taken care of. So what went wrong down the line?
Don't mind me. I started by saying that he's doing the right thing, praising him. I mean, that's me. Anyway, you do well, I will say it. I don't care which party or whatever you belong to. If you do well, we must say it. That's the truth. But then if the people at the end receiving it are saying they have not received it, even pointing finger at a particular state saying, see, even this state reduced it. I mean, that's not fair. It is not fair. And I keep telling people, you can NMA is like NSC, is like ASU, you understand? But NARD, these are guys working day and night. They are residents. And that's why you notice they're usually young doctors. You would hardly see old people in NARD. These are guys working day, and they live right there working, paying the prices day by day. I'm not saying enemy is not working. No, before people can come and quote me, I'm saying enemy is fast becoming like like NLC pressure group and all that. If these guys are coming out to say that at this juncture, Mr. Minister, you are only speaking, we have not seen anything, I think the minister should do the right thing.
And it, unfortunately, it will be difficult for the health workers to actually begin to fight back at this time. Well, I would say Nigeria is about one of the very few countries where health workers actually go on strike, actually as against what the oath they have taken at the when they begin this vital service to humanity. And well, grant that it has become an acceptable norm in Nigeria for health workers to also protest whenever they are shortchanged and whenever the government refuses to do the needful. But at this critical point in time, you can imagine what Nigerians would come down hard on them if they say they are withdrawing services at this critical period. Which is why the government
they cannot. They should not. That's why we just plead with our health workers. We appreciate them. Please just persevere. This too shall pass. I mean, if doctors will go and nurses, who will take care of the? Let's not even imagine it.
I know the Kaduna situation, which the reports coming from Kaduna about Governor Elrufai slashing salaries of health workers also takes me to this one.
Yes.
Workers, the labor flares increasing death burden under Buhari government, and they are insisting that workers must not be COVID-19 sacrificial lamb. So, what do you think that should workers, the other civil servants, also be making some form of sacrifice at this time? Salary, pay cuts, maybe some delay in payment of salaries, because we have seen this. It seems this picture is beginning to play out in quite a number of states of the federation. And well, I think maybe talks are going on with Labour. Fayemi is also saying something about senior workers, the pay of senior workers.
Except we align ourselves with the way things are going in this country. There will be pay cuts. But the most important thing is everybody wants to know what the politicians will be given. They are
already reducing their salaries, slashing their salaries.
We know that, and we know, we understand, But the devil, like you said at the beginning of the program, is in the emoluments, the benefits. Somebody earning, for example, you can be earning 300,000 naira, and then you have some benefits, some extra thing that are 100% of your salary. Something will be 50% of your salary, and that one 60% of your salary. That's the big deal. So if you are saying of my 300,000 naira, I can even give you 50%, 150,000 naira. But you have something somewhere else that is 100% of your 300,000 that you get. So you understand. So it's really these benefits in quotes that really matters. And I can assure you, I'm not speaking for anyone else, an average worker out there, if they know that governments across board will be dropping some things, the average worker will want to sacrifice. But then that will now make the average worker, lab rats and say, all workers, you get, like he said, half salary, not recently, what they did in time past, we want to know what is government sacrificing. What are the people in government sacrificing? And that's why I'm happy that a couple of governors started with appointees.
Yeah.
That's the way it should start. Whether we like it or not, except this thing changes in the next 2 months. RMFAC has told us that June will be zero allocation.
Zero allocation.
So I think it's just okay we begin to tell ourselves the truth now. No, that's why people like us, especially in business, will be talking about post-COVID-19 economy. People should prepare and brace for impact.
It still
there
pains
will be
me.
a lull. That's the truth.
It still pains me that with the lessons of the 2016 recession, we still refuse to plan. Well, nobody knew COVID-19 would come, but then, aside COVID-19, any other thing could have happened, and we had enough time to prepare for things like this, to prepare for events like this, cuts in oil price, and it seems as if, as usual, the Nigerian system, we did nothing. It seems like we took nothing away from the 2016 recession.
Well, I hope we'll learn our lessons. Time check 7:10 a.m. Destination time 7:30 a.m. Phone line is open, and of course, we'll begin to take comments on our feedback channels on Twitter and Facebook. A lot of people have been chatting me up on Twitter. Okay, I'm online actually. We are online. Okay, I know somebody wondering, this guy, we have to respond. You are our distinguished listeners. The phone line 08055009850, 08055009850. Fuel subsidy will not return. Federal government says, assures IMF. You should assure us, the people. You assure IMF. Abitola, what do you think? I expect the federal government to assure us, we the people. We are the one paying for this thing now. But I know they are borrowing some money from IMF, so they want to tell them. So that
they will not say that we are not serious.
I know that. 08055009850. Let me quickly jump to Facebook and see what people have been saying. A lot of comments there. I hope I can do justice to everything. So much right there. Odebumi Fatah is saying trust you guys. Okay, I don't know what that might mean. Anyway, Ajilore Damilare Samuel saying well done. Okay. We have Matthew Olaleru saying good morning. Tola and Dayo. Corruption and negligence leads to rapid spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria. May God save us. Comrade Adiola Sunday from Shaki. Okay, the phone line is buzzing. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
This is Sunday from Oluyole.
Okay, let's have you, Mr. Sunday.
On behalf of the COVID-19 issues.
Okay.
So we can see that many of people that are not, I cannot say that they are not aware that they are not being infected with the virus. It has a particular reason for them to be saying that coronavirus is a scam, Now, as we are even saying now on the discussion, many of these houses that have been collected from many people, maybe those that embezzle the money of Nigeria, or maybe those that fraud us or anyhow. So they should use those houses to turn it to isolation center. And again, we can see the developed countries, they are giving their people money. So many of our Nigerian citizens that are living abroad, they are even saying it. They are calling us at home that they are receiving food by free and even giving them money. Now, what's wrong with our leaders in Nigeria? So they are planning to reduce the salaries of people, which is not supposed to be. You cannot provide food for them, no shelter, no anything. And it's like we just are living in a zoo. So they don't help us.
All right.
And again, on the issue of maybe they are discriminating to see somebody not belong to their party. So the thing is affecting us in Nigeria. We should stop discrimination. That will help us. And I have the effort of our governor today. So the Lord will be with him.
Amen.
So I'm even praying for him to become the Nigeria president. So if, or even when they can even allow him to rule Nigeria for 3 months, so we can see that we have a good economy in Nigeria. That will be with us.
All right, thank you so much. That sounds nice. Those are actually like GSM fans.
A very good report there.
I'm telling you. Okay, yes, another caller.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Mario, how's everything?
Fine, sir. Thank you so much. Tola is also here.
Tola, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
This is Orobade William Oro.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Thank you. The issue of Kano State.
Please turn down the volume of your radio set. We can hear feedback there.
Okay. The issue of Kano State. And with this total lockdown, I don't know if the list to us is actually real. Can you see the spread and the number being released this morning upon the lockdown? It's becoming alarming. And I'm not sure the work is still going on there upon everything we are hearing on the pages of newspaper. And considering this country, they are saying the salary will be slashed, especially the health workers. Anyway, some of us have been preparing for this because our leaders, that has been their lifestyle. They are not ready for service to humanity. So the issue of this kind of state, please, something urgent should be done because they are championing the spread of coronavirus now.
All right. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your call, but that was from his hand, not from our hand. Quickly from Facebook, Damilola Balogun. Is it true that Ogbomoso has new confirmed cases? According to the NCDC, we just said that 6 new confirmed cases yesterday. Actually, the 6 were Togolese. Yeah, they were Togolese nationals that entered Oyo State and were quickly caught and, I think quarantined, and they took their tests. Yes, 2 cases from Ogbomoso. That was 2 days ago. So 2 cases from Ogbomoso is confirmed. Somebody is asking, is it true that Ogbomoso has new confirmed cases? It's even on Mr. Governor's Twitter, and I'm looking at it right now. Seyi Makinde at Seyi Makinde on Twitter. He actually put the Oyo State COVID-19 Task Force updates for May 1. It was listed there, the locations and all that. And there's even an infographic on local governments and places that have cases. Ibadan North has the highest in Nigeria, in Oyo State. Ibadan North has 15 cases. Ido 2 cases. Ibadan Northwest 1 case. Ibadan Southwest 1 case. Lagelu 1 case. Oluyole 1 case. And I think Ogbomoso now 2. And that's the most recent. So yes, if you're asking, does Ogbomoso have? Yes. I suggest you follow Mr. Governor on Facebook and Twitter. It will really help. Yes, follow your governor now. It will help you to be more informed. Sadiat Adebi, please review this morning lectures. Oh, okay. The people involved will do the right thing. I'm sure they can hear you right now. Oladimeji Emmanuel Oyewale, he said Nigeria is shame. How will live broadcast be linked? I'm sorry, I don't understand that. I don't understand what you're trying to say there.
What live broadcast is he talking about?
Matthew Olalu say, good morning, happy weekend. I believe and I have faith in God. This month will be the last month we'll be talking about COVID-19. Amen. All right.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
It's Mr. Godwin calling from Shaki.
Okay, nice to have you. Please speak up, Mr. Godwin.
I want to talk about the last man that said that the man will be the president of Nigeria. I pray so.
Okay.
I pray so.
Amen.
Surely president of Nigeria in Jesus' name. And again, I want to talk on the people that are entering into cities and entering like the Togolese. Here in Shaki, many of them are entering to take people part. They are entering this very place in Shaki. So I want the government to do something about it. Because when this thing started, I don't go to work. I'm indoor. Things. And when palliative is distributing, we don't get any palliative yet. I've stopped work since March. I've stopped work. I don't go to my office. I don't go to I don't go there at all. I don't go and work. I lock my shop. It's when I have it and then become a thing. So as I'm calling you now today, we are not getting any palliative yet in Shaki yet. Maybe this politician of a thing, distributing things to their own family. I don't understand them.
Okay.
So we are Victoria, we are not even here. So we thank God that we are taking this every day, we are alive. So let the government please, if it's hearing us today, Shaki here, no palliative delivery to many people.
Okay.
Maybe they are doing it underground, don't know.
All right. Thank you so much for your comment. But I think one take home from his comments is that some foreigners are actually entering, or whether they are even nationals, but at least people are entering through the border into the country via Shaki, and it's something the security agencies should note. Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Tola and Daniel, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Grandma. We are fine, thank you, man.
Number one, please let let him revise the money of all the workers that he deducted. That's 25%.
Okay.
Thank you. Number two, I've been saying the politicians' property should be converted to not only the private ones who have really labored for their property and private and buildings. That is the contribution. Thank you. God bless Nigeria.
Amen. Thank you, Grandma. Really appreciate that. If you want to tweet at me on Twitter, I can see some people trying to tweet. Please tweet at Oluyole FM, okay, and use hashtag conversation. It will be easier to pick your comments up. A lot of people have been trying to say some things. I need you to use that hashtag conversation. CONVERSATION. That's the best way to pick up your comments. Go back to Facebook. Damilola Balogun, is it true? Okay, we've taken that. Adiola Odewuse says, morning guys, just wondering if we have a democracy in Nigeria. Okay, the Honorable Speaker said should take it easy on forcing bills down the throats of Nigerians. Our lawmakers should remember God, who, in fact, the politicians brought all this mess on us. I personally remember how much I cried concerning us being proactive about this pandemic in Nigeria. I think our leaders are enjoying every bit of this. At least they seem to be making cool cash from the whole thing. They are using their money.
Some of them are getting COVID-19. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Kola from Edimotion.
Okay.
Okay.
So I want to say something about the issue of the border.
Okay, good. Please go ahead.
Please, Mr. Governor, should do something that is very tangible to our border, because the way people are coming from northern side of Nigeria is very rapid.
Okay, that's
Hello?
it. Oh,
And even if you can see,
that's from your hand. Maybe you need to call us back. But I think you already made a very important point here. People coming from other parts of the country, now they see people coming through the Kwara Ilorin axis, and it's
from northern Nigeria. Sightings have been reported almost on a daily basis.
People coming in trucks and all that. Something must be done about this.
Hello, good morning.
hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Drudola.
Okay.
I'm calling from Okaka.
Okay, good to hear you from
Please go ahead.
Now, two things. Number one, if you come to Okaka, you will notice influx of these Fulanis and Burundos. They gather all the time. Especially between the hours of 1 and 4 p.m. every day. I don't know that they are praying. You will talk to them, they won't listen to you, they will tell you that coronavirus is for rich people, it won't touch them. And there's nobody just looking at them, and nobody can correct them. Please, if there's anything your radio can do to synthesize them, to let them know the evil of
of coronavirus so that they will know that this coronavirus does not discriminate between the rich and the poor, the local people, and those who are living in towns and cities. Because if it breaks out around this area, it will be a great disaster.
That's true.
Number two, now if you visit all the general hospitals around, half of the rooms there are not used. So I wonder why government is trying to say the confiscate or use private properties for isolation centers. Let government visit all the general hospitals around all the governments in the United States, for instance, and renovate them. That's my contribution. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Your points are well noted. Pastor Oluyole Balogun Ali on Facebook is saying, good morning, guys. I'm worried about Oyo State. There's knowledge deficit on the part of citizens. Testing is not enough. Market is porous. The issue of giving food to people outside the country, a lot of philanthropists rose to the challenge. Okay, I think the issue of giving food, okay, I'm trying to understand the concord there. The issue of conversion of property, politicians to do leadership by example. Thank you, Pastor Oluyole Balogun Ali. Really appreciate you. Okay, here's another caller here.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
If I have to commend the effort of both of you, you have been doing a nice job.
Thank you so much, sir.
God will continue to strengthen you.
Amen.
Comrade Paula Esu from Ogbomoso. You know, the other time when I was making comments, I said that I don't know whether our leaders or government are listening to what you have been saying. Because so far, you know, we keep on repeating, and you will see these leaders or government functionaries did those things that are irritating. Somebody will just speak up. Well, we thank God that that governor that said that he will banish the two journalists. He has probably taken his step. However, this issue of this pandemic, please, I want to ask, this PPE and this testing kit, what is the major problem there? Is it the money or how to get them, sir? Because I want to believe the testing will give us, a kind of leverage at least to know that, okay, this is the number of those people that we have tested. But I don't know whether the issue is the money or how to get them, sir.
Okay, well, I think government officials will have to answer that. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your comment. And, it's 7:26 a.m.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
This is Lekima Bikon from Ileife.
Okay, let's have you briefly, sir.
For Kano State, I think it's because of the fact that they are going by verbal autopsy. I want to suggest, I don't know, I'm not speaking for the religion because I learned does not agree to autopsy. But if there is a way they could go around and allow real autopsy, it will have helped in ascertaining that those who died after died by COVID-19, it will have helped in containing the pandemic. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. I think it's important we note here there's nothing religious about this. Let's not bring religion into this. They chose verbal autopsy. It has got nothing to do with anybody's religion. Let's not bring into all of this. There's nothing connected to religion in this. We are out of time. Mary is here. We can no longer pick calls. We can no longer pick calls. Mary is right here. Sorry, that's the much you can take on the show today. It will come your way on Monday. Mary.
Time for sports.
Dio.
I have no issues with Keshi, says Uche.
Okay, I think the man is no longer here, so you can only hear from one side. Keshi is not here to defend himself. She's not here to tell us.
That's true. That's true.
He can only say it.
But there's one news I saw on TV yesterday. I was checking out Super Sports. It said Premiership. Yeah, they are not yet sure.
As of yesterday, on the 9th till on the 23 have been cancelled, but they are still insisting that they will resume by June 12.
Oh, June 12th.
June
That's a very interesting date here in Nigeria. Please go ahead. Yes.
I'm still insisting on the June 12th resumption, but I think they will be waiting to see what happens in Germany.
Okay.
Germany will be making a final decision by Wednesday. They've started testing already.
Okay.
But a huge hit to that test is the fact that yesterday Cologne said that during the test, about 5 of their players, I think players and officials, tested positive.
Whoa.
So that's like another setback. When other clubs continue testing, when results keep coming out, and then you have to ask questions about what exactly is happening. These people who are testing positive, would they also not be a part of proceedings?
Exactly.
So there are lots of questions to ask.
Wow. Okay, that's it. Up next, Sport Tidbits with Mary. Don't go anywhere. See you on Monday.
Okay, special good morning right here from Oluyole 98.5 FM, reaching you from the city of Ibadan. Starting for Saturday Sports, beautiful Saturday morning. About 18 minutes, quickly taking a quick look at the sporting stories making the rounds all over the world. Well, for those listening to us on Agility FM 92.1, Okiogo FM 96.3, on the website www.bcs.tv/listen, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. We're welcoming you right here. The First Lady is in the building. My name is Mary Akinshola. Let's quickly get straight to action. Take a quick look at those of the stories making the round. We start off from Nigeria, where this one quickly coming in. This is from the Sports Ministry. Well, the Sports Ministry have finally taken on that one they've always spoken about, talking about helping the athletes during this crunch time. So the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, that's Mr. Sunday Dari, has ordered payment of funds into the accounts of the Nigerian athletes to cushion the effect of the coronavirus pandemic. Well, according to a statement from the media office of the minister, the payments were made from the 10 million naira donation by that's the chairman of Remo Stars, and also the 1 million naira from an unnamed Nigerian, a stake of for the athletes relief fund. Now, the statement said that the sum of 50,000 naira is being paid into the direct account of each of the athletes from the Central Bank of Nigeria account of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Well, also the statement further said that it will be recalled that the minister had floated a relief fund for the athletes whose sources of earnings had been ceased as a result of the pandemic following the suspension of all major sporting events in the world. Well, moving straight away from there now. Well, away from there now to this one that quickly caught my eye yesterday. I think there are a whole lot to the story, and I think in the coming days the authorities should be taking a quick look at it and are probably doing something about it. Well, this one is from the former England coach, that's Sven-Göran Eriksson, who says that he turned down the job to manage the Super Eagles at the 2010 World Cup after he was told by an official of the Nigerian Football Federation that his salary would be paid into two different accounts. Well, Eriksson made this revelation in an interview with Newsman that was yesterday. The Swede said that the Federation was willing to give him the job on the condition that his salary would be divided. Now, the 72-year-old was among the coaches who were shortlisted for the Eagles job after the late Shuaibu Ahmadu was relieved of the job despite a third-place finish at the 2010 African Cup of Nations that was back in Angola, after also qualifying for the 2010 World Cup. Well, the 72-year-old was among the coaches who were shortlisted for that job. Now, he has come out to say categorically that he would have taken that job, but he was told that his salary would be paid into two different accounts. I think this is really huge. If you look at where we come from as a country, allegations like this, because I will still call it an allegation, he has said his own. I'm sure the NFF should come out and say, okay, something, this was what happened. We're going to investigate. But until now, I'm sure the NFF is yet to say something about it, and I'm sure lots of Nigerians are waiting for the NFF to say something about this one. But the key for me here is the fact that this allegation was made. We can't say it's unfounded. I'm sure wherever he goes to, he can actually back it up with some claims. But it's really huge, especially for the kind of integrity we are trying to build on the outside world. Saying some people would say, oh, it's not going to be too hard to believe if they say, oh, you can come in, but we're going to pay your salary into two different accounts. For what reason? I'm sure we have that question coming in. I think Eriksson further added that the only time he can remember having undergone any form that resembles an interview was when he was asked about the job of Nigeria's national team coach ahead of the World Cup back in South Africa. That was in 2010. He said that he went down in the belief that he would meet the chairman of the NFF, and it was really only contract formalities that would go through. But when he arrived, several coaches had received the same invitation, including Lars Lagerbäck, who eventually got the job anyways. And he said he was very surprised, but he quickly found himself. He said after a while he was called into the room with a chairman who declared that they wanted him to be the coach, but with the proviso that his salary will be divided into two parts. One that he got into his account, and another that will be deposited in another account that was not in his name. Don't forget that Swedish coach Lars Lagerbäck did get the job at the end of the day. He took us to the World Cup back in 2010, where unfortunately we only needed one goal. That was against South Korea, which we did not get, and we were thrown out of that tournament. Huge big deal. All right, there. I'm sure in the coming days the NFF should come out and probably say something about that one. Moving away from there now to Liverpool, where the Liverpool mayor Joe Henderson has said that resuming the Premier League is a non-starter, and he fears that a farcical situation with fans congregating outside Anfield, even if Liverpool claimed the title at a neutral venue. Well, the Premier League has told its clubs that only approved venues will be used, raising the possibility of matches being played at neutral grounds. Well, Liverpool, who are chasing their first title in 30 years, lead the table by 25 points with 9 games remaining, while the league hopes to restart on the 8th of June. Well, the league's project restart envisages the season resuming behind closed doors because of social distancing measures in place to battle the coronavirus pandemic. Liverpool's mayor Anderson, I think so many people will take the side with this man on this one. He's not saying, oh, we can't do this thing. He feels, in his opinion, that yes, if they do resume, if they decide, even if Liverpool goes to a neutral venue to win, fans will still want to troop out in the streets of Liverpool. Don't forget, he's the mayor of Liverpool. He's saddled with the responsibility of making sure that Liverpool is safe. Now, he's coming out to express his fears. I don't think anyone can blame him for that one. But I think there are so many sides to this one. You can't take it with the fact that I'm sure lots of fans, if Liverpool eventually clinch that title, lots of fans will still troop out to say, we want to dance, we want to celebrate. You can't stop them from doing that one. And in fact, it's going to be huge trying to control them. Yes, there are social distancing measures out there in place, parts of UK on lockdown and all that, but it's very dicey. It's very dicey. We absolutely that one. Things are dicey at the moment, but then we'll see how that one will turn out at the end of the day. 8th of June, that's the day. So many people are saying they will resume. Some say 8th, some say 15th, some say 12th. So all of these are dates. But one thing the Premier League is telling so many people is the fact that in the coming days, next month, that's June, it's going to definitely resume. Okay, before we go now, let's still talk about the Premier League. The Premier League players will have to go to cover their faces as part of new rules to allow a safe return to full training. Well, there's the document that is setting out Project Restart, and it will be discussed at the Premier League club meetings that have already started anyways, and will continue up until next week. Well, proposals have been drafted by the Premier League Director of Football, but a return to training will only happen with the agreement of the government. Well, plans include testing all players and officials 48 hours before returning to training, and they will also be tested for potential respiratory problems which are associated with the coronavirus. There are lots of proposals in place. Players have to cover their faces during training, cover parts of their faces during training. They also say that all footballs, global positioning systems, cones, corner flags, goal post equipment will be disinfected before and after use by staff wearing PPE. They also say that players are to wear masks at all times. Cars are to be parked 3 spaces apart. No massages unless approved by the club doctor. They say fluids are to be left at designated pick-up point. Only visiting training block to use the toilet. Then also initially only 5 players will be allowed per training group. They also say that players to be given designated time slots and 15 minutes to prepare. They say there will be 75 minutes of small group training, 15 minutes of recovery. Then players and staff will be banned from spitting at the training ground. I think for me, the spitting has to be the big deal here. You will know players, spitting has to be some sort of reflex action for these people. And then you're telling them to stop spitting automatically. It's going to be really hard. Most of these guidelines that have been drawn up here will take a very, very long time for those players to get used to. And even the players themselves, they've started talking about it. Most of them are saying that they are scared to return to football. Well, this, anyways, coming from the mouth of Sergio Aguero of Manchester City. He says that players are scared about the prospect of returning to action amid the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the Premier League is open to restart in June, and it would also require players to be back in full training. That will be by the 18th of May. Now, according to Aguero, he says the majority of players are scared because they have families they have children. In his opinion, he says that his teammates are being quite nervous and also extra careful when they do return. So the big question is this: the players who are supposed to be the chief actors in this development are saying they are scared to return. So you begin to ask questions like, are they supposed to have a say in this matter? So you begin to say, oh, when exactly is the players' union, that's a FIFPro, going to come out and say, okay, this is exactly what we're going to be doing about the issues? In the coming days, I expect to have lots and lots of reaction, but until those developments keep coming in, we'll still run off with the hope that by next month, that's talking about June, definitely the Premier League should return. Well, finally, on Saturday Sports this morning, we go straight to the French Ligue 1. For those who have not heard, well, I have news coming in from there where Paris Saint-Germain have been awarded the Ligue 1 title after the season was ended amid the coronavirus pandemic. Well, PSG, who have now won their 7th French title in the last 8 years. That's a domination, if you'd ask me. Had a 12-point lead over second-place Marseille when the season was suspended in March. Well, special big ups to Marseille in that one, because if you look at how far they have come, you need to give them big ups in that one. Well, the French Professional Football League ratified the decision at a meeting on Thursday, 2 days after the French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe suspended sports in the country until at least September. Well, a point-per-game system taking into account the performance of clubs was used to determine the final standings in the Ligue 1 table. Marseille have qualified directly for the Champions League, while third-place Rennes will enter the qualifying round with Toulouse and Amiens. They are relegated already. Seventh place Olympique Lyonnais away, saying that they have missed out on a European place and they would possibly appeal against the LFP's decision to end the season. Well, Lyon were just 1 point behind 6th placed Nice, who have qualified for the Europa League with 10 matches to play. Just like I was saying on Sports Update yesterday, I think if there is one team that needs to think about appeal more at the moment, it definitely has to be Lille. Lille are 49. They have 49 points. I think Lille are 5th on the table. They missed out on the Champions League by just 1 point. There's still 9 matches to go as far as the French Ligue 1 is concerned. Just imagine what would have happened if Lille had the opportunity to play just, let's say, 4 or 5 of those matches. They would have found their way possibly into the UEFA Champions League. You can actually take that possibility away. But I think in the coming days it's going to be interesting, because Olympique Lyonnais are saying that Lyon are saying they will definitely seek redress. So I expect Lyon also to say they probably will seek redress. But as it stands, the PSG are already champions, 7th in 8 years. It's really huge. But I think for this season, PSG were not really looking too much at winning the French Ligue 1. I think their sights, as they said at the beginning of the season, was definitely on the UEFA Champions League. And as far as the UEFA Champions League is concerned, for now, I think everything is still on hold. They are said, UEFA has come out to say that they will wait for the domestic leagues to finish before they would say what exactly will happen. In England, under 9 still under 23s have been concluded already. All that is gone. I'm sure tomorrow by 3 p.m. we should still be having more reactions coming. That will be on Sports Extra. And also, we will be taking a quick look at the pros, the cons of what is happening in the League One. If the appeal does come through, what exactly should we be expecting might happen when this appeal does come through? There'll be a whole lot to talk about tomorrow right here on Sports Extra. Well, definitely the much you can take this morning on Saturday Sports right here on 98.5 Oluyole FM. Special thanks to Sunday Akindele, who was on the controls for me this morning. Well, by 3 p.m. tomorrow, that will be Sports Extra. There'll be a whole lot to talk about. Hi, my analysts. Together, we'll be taking a quick look at the pros, the cons of all that is going down in the French League One, and also the German Bundesliga. Team that will be officially the first big league now that will be officially resumed, because if we do not forget, there are lots of other leagues in the world who have already started, who are already playing at the moment. So we'll take a quick look at those ones. Well, special thanks to everyone who was a part of production this morning. To also listen to us from Agility FM 92.1, OK Go FM 96.3, BCS.TV/listen. That's the website. On Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Saying a huge thank you and welcome to the show. My name is Mary Akinshala. I do have a splendid day ahead. Bye for now.
Oluyole 98.5 FM.
Gbogbo ọjọ́ jẹ́ ìrìn àjò bí a ṣe